How to become a millionaire in real estate. I want you to stay tuned. I was a millionaire in real estate in 1999. I'm going to tell you the tips and tricks completely in detail of how I did that. But absolutely, there's one big myth. It's a total lie. Stay to the end, and I'll let you know what it is. Do not get tripped up in that myth. Four things I'm going to talk about in this video. The absolutely number one thing that you have to do to get started. I'm going to talk about the big myths. There's reality and then there's HGTV. I'm going to talk about the most overlooked strategies and how to, again, not fall in that trap. And then the biggest one is how do you create the system, the team and the systems? How do you replicate and duplicate? I call it R&D. Replicate and duplicate, not research and develop. Some of you get stuck in that paralysis, especially in real estate. You're like, always going to find a deal and you've never put in a contract. So let's get going. We got four big things to talk about. So the number one thing to do to get started is you got to start some due diligence. So let's talk about some subsets of due diligence. You're going to have a strategy. What are you going to pick? And right now, I mean, it is so rich in real estate. And I have the greatest team coaching in real estate right now. It's phenomenal. And I have done, I think, everything under the sun. There's not a strategy I haven't done. From right now, we're arbitraging Airbnb. We're taking apartments and moving them from long-term to short-term rentals. We're doing flips. I'm doing land development, RV parks, assisted living facilities. You say, how do I do all this? I have a huge team. 1999, when I became a millionaire, and I'll tell you that story in a minute, I didn't pick a path. I just called a mentor and I said, I got to be a millionaire. And he said, why? And I said, I have 9 months. I'm going to have a baby. So I had a lot going on during my millionaire 6 months, meaning I had a business, I had some money, I had a company. I just didn't have it organized right. So when I became a millionaire, I leaned into my mentor strategy and I said, what are we going to do? And then there was my story and how I became a millionaire, and I did it in 6 months. So picking that strategy is critical. And, there's a lot of gurus who will say, pick wholesaling. It's easy. No, it's not. I think picking wholesaling as a starting strategy, and I'll debate them all day long, is ridiculous. You're supposed to have never done a deal. First of all, you're going to find a buyer. You're going to find a seller. And then one magical day, you're going to know how to bring them together with all of their issues to a closing table and take the spread. It seems pretty easy in concept. In principle, it's rougher than it is. I'm a huge fan of just a basic fix and flip. So if you're wanting to get in and it's super simple, do a basic fix or flip. What I'm really a fan of is get a team. You say, well, how do I get a team? Well, I've been doing this since 1999. How I make millionaires is you join our community, you join our team. Someone in our community of the thousands of people will let you jump on their team. You can do it in St. Louis, you can do it in Ohio, you can do it in Kentucky. I have clients all over, not only the United States, Canada, the world. Join a team. Why would you risk being out there all by yourself? I think it's crazy making. So inside the due diligence, you have to pick this strategy. So typically, if you're new and you're joining a team, you're going to align to the strategies that they're doing. So you may want to just interview a bunch of teams for a while. The other part of due diligence is run your numbers. Really start understanding numbers. There's tons of real estate calculators online. There's tons of cash flow calculators online. Interview brokers, interview lenders in town. Get to know who's who in the zoo, who's really making things happen in town, who's the best contractors, the most active contractors, who are the developers, who are the rehabbers, who are the crews that typically get these jobs. Get to know your local area. All that being said, I don't invest in my local area. I live where I want and I invest where it makes sense. So I've lived in the most amazing places of the world, right? From Lake Tahoe, Nevada to Sausalito, California, Manhattan Beach to New Orleans, French Quarter. But Oklahoma was my millionaire market, right in the middle of the United States, and still have property there. I moved into Arkansas, Mississippi, Missouri, back over to Kansas, up into Ohio, Illinois. I've invested in all those areas. I've also gone all the way out to New Jersey, Pennsylvania, gone down to Florida. I've invested in Arizona. There's not a lot of states I haven't done some real estate in. And how do I do a lot of it? I have a huge team. So how do you get a team? I do a lot of due diligence. I'm always connecting, and I'm connecting with different people for different strategies. So you can grow into that. But that's not how you begin. How I began is I picked one mentor, I followed their system, I followed their path, became a millionaire. So inside your due diligence, critical. Find your strategy, find your team, run your numbers, and don't just leave that all to chance. And do not, ladies, I want to speak to you because I just got a couple clients that are in their 50s and 60s and said, my accountant and my lawyer are going to help me. I'm like, oh my God. Please don't do that. First of all, if your accountant and lawyer are actually great real estate investors and they have their own money and skin in the game, then you might want to consider that. But a lot of times they're just accountants and they're just lawyers and all their money is in mutual funds and the bonds or whatever, the stock market. They haven't even done a real estate transaction. Everyone that it touches becoming a millionaire in real estate, they better be one. They better be one. Do not do what I call the inherited behavior around real estate. I see this all the time. You look at your friends and your coworkers and say, hey, let's go do a deal together. No one's done a deal. You're 100% at risk, even though you're just spreading it out a bunch of more people. Always find someone who's a millionaire, multimillionaire. I've been a multimillionaire in real estate since 1999. Never looked back. It is a massive part of our family's portfolio. Has to be. Right? So it's really critical. So number one, do your due diligence. Do not leave that one behind. Now let's talk about some differences of real life. So real life, a lot of people, I'm going to say, I'll use it generally, are watching TV. HGTV has been a sold out channel and now it's flooded into other channels. HGTV and a couple other channels got busted. They're not doing real stuff. They're doing it in Hollywood, back alley channels inside warehouses, and it's all mock. And the reason I'm also going to take a big swing at TV, I've been there, done it. It's entertainment. Dr. Phil gave me the biggest blessing and gift, said, Laurel, your care about education is higher than your desire to do this entertainment. We do this for entertainment. So does he do a great job in the parts that he does? Yes, but he gets a whole bunch of people, just like I got, who, when I was his money expert, I would go out and I had 90 days to kind of fix a family and get them organized. They just wanted to be on TV. They didn't want to do the work I wanted to teach them to do. And the kind of people were people who didn't want to pay for a therapist, so they got their therapy from Dr. Phil on a couch. Not really my client. So it was an interesting run. I have a client, this was even funnier, who was on a wife swap. She wasn't married. And she was leaving our big table and flying LA. I said, why are you leaving? She said, I got on that TV show. I said, you're not married. She said, I know, I'm going to meet my husband on the set. So I just wanted to blow that up for those of you who are Fantasy Island people about what's really going on. Get to real people in the streets, real people doing deals, real people with P&Ls, balance sheets, entities, corporate structure. They know what they're doing and they can prove it all day long. And I can tell you this, if your mentor does not give you their cell phone, why are you doing business with them? Or why are you paying them to be your mentor? They may have a big fun name. If you do not have access to the millionaire, the multimillionaire, big problem. At least in my mind. Very accessible, high touch. My mentors did it for me. I will do it for you. So we've talked about how do you get started, and we've talked about the reality, so you're not mesmerized by things that don't work. So now let's get to 3 and 4, the most overlooked strategies that most people don't do. So as I get into number 3 and 4, I want you, if you're enjoying this, to subscribe to my channel. Click it, and I actually want you to do one other thing. I want you to share it with a few other friends. So when you start your real estate conversation, you have other smart friends that are getting educated by the same philosophy to get going. Make sure you click the notifications so every day, I'm here 5 days a week, you are getting my content, and search for other things that you want to learn. I have tons and tons of videos and tons of education to help you. Now, number 3, the most overlooked strategy is the obvious ones. So when people first come to me and say, how do I get started? Well, number 1, I go through the due diligence and find a team and things I just talked about. And then I give you the reality of how this is going to work. But I can tell you the fastest, easiest ones just to get involved. If you have money, be the OPM. And I know people say, what? I want to buy real estate, Laurel. I don't want to be the bank. Why not? It's the safest position you could get yourself into, and no one tells you that. I don't care if it's only $25,000, $40,000, $50,000. If that money's in an IRA, by the way, and you're an employee, you can borrow from your IRA up to $50,000. So here's the benefit of being the bank. Number 1, you're in debt. So you're going to take that, say, let's just use $50,000, right? And you have an IRA, you're going to take a loan from it. Yes, you have to pay a little interest back. So you're going to go over to the person who has a project and you're going to say, I'm going to be your OPM. I want 12%. So say your note back to your IRA companies, maybe 2 or 3%, you still make what's called the arbitrage, the spread of 8 or 9%. Here's why it's safer. If you just went into partnership with somebody, right, and you started the project or you went on your own and did use your own money, if you blow it, you blow it. It's all gone. It's 100% of a problem. If you're in a debt position, number 1, you say you want to be active debt, which means you want to be part of buying the property. You'll be the one bringing the money, but you want to be in first position as the bank and you're going to own the property. So even if the rehab is blown and the cost is blown, guess who has the property? You. It is the number one strategy I teach beginners, and it blows their mind. They said, I didn't come to you to become a bank. I came to learn real estate. And I said, yeah, but why wouldn't you be a bank for somebody who's amazing at real estate, not a beginner? So there's your second tip. Don't loan to people who have never done a deal before, like two newbies all coming together. That's still sort of ridiculous. Debt will still trump the equity position. Because if you just blow a project, just like any stock, if you blow it, you lose it. Right? Shark Tank, right? All those guys, I know them, right? They can buy a business. If they get equity and the business goes down, the whole thing goes down. If you're in a debt position or a convertible debt position, debt trumps equity all day long. So I love starting with the bank. You're the bank. You can do it on construction loans. I have some people doing it on an RV park. You can do it on an Airbnb. Another easy one that I'm going to give you, safer ones to get in, is instead of buy a property, why don't you lease a whole property? I have somebody who just did this. They leased an 8-plex and they didn't buy the whole thing. They leased it. Now they have an owner carry back coming soon. But in the meantime, they just wanted to test it with the lowest risk possible. They turned the long-term apartments into 8 short-term rentals. So people are renting by the weekend, they're renting by the week, renting for some holiday time. So instead of just 8 stagnant, call it $1,000 units for $8,000 minus all the mortgage and all the TIs and everything else. Now they're getting, instead of $1,000 a unit, a lot of them that I have worked with, the person I'm thinking about has over doubled per unit. So instead of getting $1,000 on a long-term year lease for that apartment, he's getting over $2,000 per unit by just doubling and doing short term. Now, obviously, you've got to make sure that the county and the town allows short term rentals, and you can do all of that. But I can tell you, there are so many strategies to get in. So now that he's proved that, he'll accelerate the buying of the property because he's created so much cash flow. He doesn't want to stay in a lease position. He now wants to lock it in. But he used the lease position to test his theory and test the model that we coach through. So many ways for you to make money and become a millionaire in real estate. The one, and I cannot leave it without being talked about, is good debt. When you're corporately structured, you have a P&L, you have a business plan, the loans from the EIDL backed by real estate, up to $2 million per entity. So don't tell me you can't find money. Don't tell me you have bad credit. There's no reason in the next year to 24 months you can't become a millionaire in real estate. I did mine in 6 months. Let's see how fast you can do yours. So as you really systemize this, you want to start replicating and duplicating. You're going to find some areas that are really your wheelhouse and your thing, the thing you love to do. Mine, as I've gotten kind of older and more mature in real estate, is developing. I love developing properties, not being in the mix of them. I do love some of the creative, lease to arbitrage of, short-term and Airbnbs. So I like a lot of them. For a lot of you, you want to think one thing. Who's my team? And what is my strategy? What's my team? What's my strategy? And then you want to just systemize that as much as you can. Build a team around you that can help you replicate, replicate, and duplicate. So all of you can do this. I would highly advise you to get a mentor, get a coach. And obviously, I would love to be that for you. See if you like more of what I say. I'm going to give you a copy of my Millionaire Maker book. So I want you to click on the link in the description. You're going to go get the Millionaire Maker book. You're going to read the first 3 chapters. There'll be a gap analysis. I want you to fill it out. And if you're serious, call my office. If you want to just read on to see what the blueprints will say, read on, and we'll see you on the other side. But there's no reason you are not going to become a millionaire in real estate soon.